guys, welcome back to my channel. It's G from Happiness and Crafting. So this Shabby Saturday, which I think is number 22, we're going to be making some little shabby mushrooms, and I just think they are so cute. Now we're in autumn as the beginning of September, so I thought we would do a little shabby mushroom, which is lovely. I made the little shabby dingly danglies here the other day, which I just love. I thought they were so cute, and I wanted to have a go at making a little I don't know what you'd use these for. I haven't got a clue. Just a little bit of embellishment to hang around. This is a little dingly dangly one, which is beautiful. These are little smaller ones. This one I just love. I think this one is just beautiful. And I've just popped that onto a little dingly dangly. So these will be hanging around my room as well. So I thought I'd just give it a go. I've added a few beads to the little stalk of the mushroom as well. This one I need to finish, but I'm just going to show you how simple they are to do, and it's really fun, really fun. Now I'm going to be using some velvet. So this is velvet. This is for the top of the mushroom, and this is for the underneath of the mushroom. Now I've tried different sizes now, and I've gone for two the same size, because this one I made the underneath one a little bit smaller, but I want it to come to the edge, so I'm going to do them both the same size, because I want it to sort of like come to the edge a little bit more like this one here, so it's a little bit to the edge. These ones I've just done a little bit too small, I think, but they all look really nice. I love them, so I've just done them both the same size. Now for the stalk, I'm going to use this silky, the same as the underneath bit of the mushroom, and what I've done, so I've just drawn a little sort of shape up here like that, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn that over. Now I want this stalk to be a bit fatter on the bottom. This one's a little bit thin, but this one's a little bit fatter, so I just want to be a little bit fatter at the bottom. So if you can see, I'm going to just fold this in half, and I'm going to sew it on my machine. So I'm just going to sew up that, just so it's got like a little curve on it, just this side, and go along the top, not the bottom. I'm going to leave the bottom free, open I mean, and then I'm going to close up that top bit and just do a little line down there. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, and then we are just going to sew and stuff our little top bit here, our little mushroom head. So I'm going to do this first, and I will be back. So 2 seconds. Okay, so I've just gone down now, gone up and down a couple of times, just to get sort of like the right sort of shape on there, and just across the top. So I'm going to get my little scissors and just cut this down through there, just those little excess bits off. So let's just chop those. We don't want those. I'm going to get my lighter and just get rid of those little bits like that, just so it doesn't fray. I'm going to cut the bottom piece as well, like that, and then I'm just going to melt that, just so that they don't fray. So that's the sort of shape we've got. So I'm going to turn this in this way, just poke that through like that, if I can. Now the best thing I used before was my tweezers. I just pinched that like that and pulled it through. There we go. So that's the sort of shape that we've got. So we've got like a little wibbly wobbly mushroom sort of stalk. Doesn't really matter what sort of shape it is. You can have them as wibbly wobbly as you like. But I just wanted a sort of a little bit of a fatter bottom on this one, and it's sort of like shaped. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to stuff it. I've got some stuffing here. Now this is the one that I use all the time. I'll pop a link to that. It's a really lovely one. So I'm just going to stuff this like this. Some of them, this one is the first one that I did. This is the one that I was practicing on. I've put some wire in there so we can bend the little stalk. The other ones I haven't. But I quite like the wire in there actually. All depends what you're going to do with it. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with these, but a little bit of wire on there is quite nice. Let's just stuff this right at the end. I need my something a little bit more to poke that in, right up into the end, like that. So again, you can stuff it. You might have little bits of old material or something that you can stuff it with, or bits of cotton wool, anything that you've got you can just use in there. Can't get that right to the end. Let's see if we can push that right in. There we go, that's better. You'll be surprised how much you can actually get in there, this stuffing. But it's nice because these can be as wibbly wobbly or straight as you like, or as long as you like. You can have a nice big long tall one. You can make it quite whimsical, which these are really, aren't they? And it's entirely up to you. And again, because I'm doing it shabby, because it's Shabby Saturday, you don't have to. You can make them in nice autumn colours. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a, you know, a shabby colour. Look at that. Look at that funky little, what's it called? Tree trunk. So I was going to say tree trunk, but it's not a trunk. It's a stalk. Now I've got a little bit of wire, which I'm going to do the same thing as I did on this one. Again, this is optional. You don't have to do this. But I'm going to take this wire. This is just galvanized wire for the garden, which I get in the garden centre. So it's quite a nice thickness. And when you bend it, it sort of stays where it's put. Now I'm just going to do a little coil at the bottom, like that, to hold it. Let's just coil that round. Hold on to this. Try and get it as round as possible. Not that I'm doing a very good job here. Pull it round, there we go. It's a little bit funny shaped, but that's okay. Now let's sort of like make it, you want to roughly make it the right size. Let's just open this up. Like that. Let's just make it just a little bit bigger. There we go. Reckon that's about right? That's about right, isn't it? Then I'm going to take this bit and just bend that in like that, because we want that to sort of come up through the middle like that, so it bends up. Okay, so that's our little coil, and then I'm going to have it, I don't mind if it pokes out through the top of this, because we can bend it over the top of our little thing so it's in there nice and tight. That might be a little bit too big, so let's just pop this up and just pop out the top like that. That's okay. Oops, where's it gone? There we are. And then this can just go in. Now again, like I said, this is optional. You don't have to do this, but I just think it's quite nice to sort of get that bent around there. So I'm going to push that in, and then we're going to sew this in. Let me get, I've got a needle and cotton here. Now I'm using beading cotton, this one. This is sort of like the nylon. It's not cotton, it's a beading thread. It's not cotton. I'm just going to sew this so we gather it around like that and hold it shut. There we go. Okay, there's so many different ways. I did have a good look on YouTube to see, but a lot of them, and Pinterest, I had a Pinterest have got hundreds, but they don't actually show you how to make them. They just got pictures of them. So I've sort of like got a bit of a mishmash, and I just sort of like had a look at how to make them and then sort of like did my own version, really. Finding ways that, you know, it's easier for me to do it. But do have a look and see if you fancy having a go at making one of these. Oh God, I just pushed it out. It was a bit silly, wasn't it? Come on, in we go. In we go. Oh, that was a bit silly, wasn't it? Pushing it out. There we go. Just put that. And then I'm going to just do the bottom as well with a little bit of felt, just so it finishes it off nicely, like this one. I just added a little bit of felt to the bottom. Just if you're going to hang them up, then they sort of like look a little bit tidier. But I did do one here, which is just basic, and I just sewed it like that, and this is the top, and I sewed the top up. So, you know, if you don't want to go through all this, you can just sew it around and stick that onto your toadstool top, if you know what I mean. But I want to do mine like this, but there are simpler ways to do it. So let's just put that through. Okay, tie that up, and then we can sort of push this down then. I'm going to just push this down. I'm going to cut it off about there, and then bend this over like that. Doesn't matter about this bit because that's going to be hidden at the top of your under your mushroom, so that's just holding that nice and tight. Right, let's just move all these bits out of the way so I've got some room. So that's on there nice and tightly. Which one is my... And then I'm going to get a little bit of felt, cut myself a little, let's just eyeball this, cut a little circle piece. Okay, let's just tidy that up. Do you know what I mean? These don't have to be perfect. Don't think that you've got to make yourself a perfect little toadstool, because you don't. It's just a little pretty little thing that you can make. Right, now I'm going to sew this on. So hold that on. You don't have to get rid of that cotton. You can just keep that on there. And I'm going to just sew that through like that. Just so that. So it's a nice little sewing one today, so you can just take your time and have a little sewing session, which I've made these in the evening actually, and I've just had so much fun doing them. I've sat watching TV sewing the little beads on, and it's been so much fun. to do. It's quite therapeutic, isn't it? Little beads, although I did need a really good light. I've got a really nice light actually. It's a little clip-on one. Oh look, I've just gone and broken that. It's a little clip-on light. How did that come through? Is there a little slit in there? Look, that's come off there without a hole. Oh, how bizarre. Look, that's not even a needle with a thing in it, I don't think, is it? No, that's really weird. I do have some beading needles here somewhere. Oh, I'm going to have to thread this through. Oh, that's a bit weird, isn't it? There we go. I'm going to have to do it like that now. Strange. What was I saying? Oh, my light. It's like a little clip-on magnifying light. Little LEDs. I'll pop a link to it under the video. It's really good. And it helps so much with threading my beading needle because I have such a hard time. The little eyelet is, the eye of the needle is so small. Sometimes it's absolutely impossible to thread the needle. Guys, I'm really not doing a very good job, am I? There we go. It's supposed to be a nice, quick, easy, relaxing video, and I'm messing it up big time. There we go. I don't know why that popped off there. It was very strange. Oh, look, now it's on there. Look at that. There must be a little hole in here somewhere. Oh my God, that's just bizarre. That's so bizarre. Sure there's not a little hole in there. What a funny needle. Okay. Let's just sew this on like so. I've got a little bit of thread there from that, but that's okay because I can tidy this up by sewing on some little beads later. I probably won't sew the beads on in the video because that would just take, it's a one of those things that you want to take your time doing. If I just excuse me, show you the basics of how I'm doing it, you might be able to find a sort of simpler way, because sometimes I do tend to find the hardest way, although I would like to find the simplest way. Look at that, see? And then we've got that little bottom on there, so it looks all nice and tidy. So let's just tie this off a little like that. And then we will get to, oh look, that's just broken again. Oh, it's just so bizarre. I'm just going to go through there just to make sure that's in like that. Very strange needle that was. Let's put all that over there. Okay, that's our little stalk. And then, like I said, you can just bend that so you can have a really nice little shape, but I'm not going to do that yet. And then just bending it over like that just holds that in place. Right, let's put all our little bits to the side and we can get on with doing our little top bit. So this is the underneath bit and this is the top bit. So what we're going to do, I'm going to have to thread that needle again. I'm going to use this lovely thread. Let's see, we've got this needle. I'm sure I'm going to have to go under my little magnifying lamp and just see. Oh my gosh, I can't even thread this one. My gosh, guys, can't even thread a big eye of a needle today. There we go. Let's make a little knot in there. Pop that on, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to go right to the edge. Did I say to you I melted the edge with my lighter because it stops it from fraying? So all I'm going to do, this is just like making one of those little yo-yos, isn't it? So we're just going to go around the edge just with a little straight stitch all the way around like that. And then some of them I've added like a little cardboard piece to it to make it a little bit harder, and some of them I haven't. So I will do a cardboard one in here just to show you. There is another way that you can do it, which is easier than stuffing it, which I didn't have, but you can have like a little sort of polystyrene ball and cut them in half, so that, or you might be able to get half ones, and then you can get those in different sizes, so you can just put some fabric around one of those. That would be so much easier, but you know, I didn't have any, and I wanted them a little bit softer looking, so that's why I didn't really use those. Well, not that I have them. I might try some. If I go out and I remember to get some, then I will. Okay, so that's our little circle done. Like that. And then we could do with just cutting a little round bit of card, couldn't we? Let's see. Would help if I had a bit of card, wouldn't it? I've got this one. Do you think that's going to be big enough? Let's have a look. Let's just cut a little circle. I didn't do this first because I didn't want it to be, I wasn't quite sure what size it's come out. I wanted it to be a bit smaller actually. Like that. So that's our little circle. I'm not good at measuring and things like that. I'm not very good at that at all. So I do tend to sort of eyeball things a lot. So this is the hard bit. This is the hard bit of stuffing it, I find. So we need to put that in there. And then that just sort of sits on top. But I do want a bit more stuffing in here. I want this to have a nice sort of, a nice poofy mushroom. And it's surprising how much this stuff sort of compacts down. Like that. So let's just sort of pull that in without it sort of coming apart, and then we can just squash that in at the same time. So this is where you need 10 pairs of hands to get that in there like that, and holding on to your thread at the same time. There we go. Ta-da! Let me get all these little bits off. So that's our little funky mushroom top. How lovely. Little bit funny shaped, but we are good. So let's hold on to that. Pick up our needle. And then I'm going to just hold that and just sew this down a little bit more without it all unraveling. No, that's not bad. It's a little funny old shape, but it's got character. That's what we say, isn't it? A little bit of character in there. I'm going to just go round. We don't want this to undo. Like that. There we are. Let's go across a little bit. We're going to sew the little underneath bit on, so that will hold it on there as well. So let's just tie that off. Oh gosh, that needle is a very, very strange needle. Okay. Although that's a little round circle on there, it's got a bit funny shape, doesn't it? Look at that. Little top of our mushroom. Let's thread our needle yet again. Pop that, oops. Pop that through. And then we're going to just sew this one up now. Like that. So this is a nice little silky one. So let's see. I'm going to leave just a little sort of edge to this, so we've got that little bit that comes down. So I'm hoping that will sort of be enough without making this too small. Do you think that's it? Let's see. Let's just go round. Okay, let me know if you've made these before. You might have a sort of easier way of doing it or a different way of doing it. Let everybody know how you do it. But this isn't too bad. You can just do, if you didn't want to do one of these like that and stuff it, you can, I've seen people roll up felt and just make a little sort of stalk like that. So lots of different ways. I don't know where, I think this might be a bit too small. Might have to redo this again. Wait a minute. Let's see. So that's like that. Yeah, I'm going to have to do that again. Do I? So this is, do you know what I mean? It's this bit that I want to be bigger. So I always end up with the same size. Doesn't matter what size circle I have. Always end up making the same size. So I'm going to just do that again, guys. I'm going to just have to come out a little bit further at the edge. Oops. There we go. I was leaving that extra bit so that we've got this bit underneath, but might even have to have sort of like a bigger circle. So let's go a little bit further out, like that, and do that. There we go. I think it's probably easier if you're going to start off, do a bigger one, because the smaller ones are quite fiddly to do. But I just think they're so lovely. Be quite nice, wouldn't it, to have a lace topped one. Add a little bit of lace to the top of it, which would be nice. But I do like velvet. I think it looks very sort of shabby and sort of pretty. Oops. Let's see if this one looks a little bit bigger. Not quite sure whether I've actually sort of sewn that very straight. Okay. So yeah, that's just like making a little yo-yo, isn't it? I'm going to pull that sort of tight. And then this, still not as big, but it's fine. Do you know what I mean? And then what we're going to do, we're going to just sew this around that. But I want to make sure that our little trunk will go in here. So we'll take this. Is our little trunk. It's quite a thin topped one, so we just still want to make sure that it's going to fit in, and we've got sort of a hole big enough, you know what I mean. Oops. So it's about there. I'm going to just sort of sew that tight. There we are. A couple of stitches in there so that doesn't unravel. Like that. I suppose the other thing you could do, you could just sort of do a stitch on here and then sew that on just a little bit and then pull that tight, couldn't you? Do it sort of like the other way round. I'm going to go through there and come out through here like that, and then I can just sew that onto here. That's what I mean, I always seem to end up with it being the same sort of size. That's okay. Right, I'm going to hold that in the middle. And then I'm going to go around here with a little, just a little stitch, like that. So we will stick this on. I'll probably just sort of speed this up a little bit because I don't think you know what I'm doing. I'm just sort of stitching that on around the edge, like that. Okay, so we're nearly there now. We've gone all the way around that and I think it's looking really, really nice. So do take your time and go round so it's sort of pretty neat under there. I think that looks really good. The other thing I forgot to say is this is stretchy, so it just makes it just a little bit easier to sew, I think. And it gives you, you know, a little bit more sort of like movement in there. But I'm loving it. I think it looks lovely. I love this colour of velvet anyway. It's from a dress. I've had it for a little while. Oh gosh. It's one that I got in the sale. I think it was like €5 or something, which is fabulous. And it was a big long dress and I've nearly used it. I wish they did have two of them. Now I really wish I got the other one. I think that was just before the summer. And I've used it a lot and I'm nearly out of it. So I'm just going to just tie that off like that. and cut that down. So there we go, that's our little mushroom. So do you know what I mean? You can make this bigger and have that to the outside. So, and then we've got our little opening in there, which we need to put our little this in there like that. And I'm going to sew that on as well. I'm going to stick that in with a little bit of glue gun like that. I'm going to pull that up so that's stuck in with glue gun, so it will be like that. And then I'm going to sew it on as well. So I've got my glue gun ready. Whoopsie daisy. So let's just pop a nice bit of glue in there. Now again, you don't have to use a glue gun, you can just sew that on, but I want to just make sure that that is in there on nice and tight like that. So I'm going to attempt to thread that needle again. I really don't think this is one of those needles, easy one. Yes, it's got a hole here. No, see, look, if I pull that, it doesn't come off. Oh, it's very strange. That was very strange. Make a little knot in there. Okay. So can you see it's a little bit wibbly wobbly like that? So I'm just going to go through. I'm going to actually go in and out through there. Just to sew that on. Like that. We want to make sure it's on there nice and safe, don't we? We don't want our little stalk falling off. Okay. Oops, if I can go through. Well, I did glue gun it, so you can't go through where the glue gun was. I like to make sure things, if it's on there, that it's not going anywhere. And then I've got a little ruffle that I made as well to go on here. There we go. Look at that. I love that little stalk. Isn't that fabulous? So I've got this little ruffle here as well, which is just a little bit of netting, a little bit of tulle, and I've just left that so I can sort of pull it tight in there. So then I think that's pretty good. And then I can always cut this a little bit shorter. And then this will just go on like this. I'm going to just take this, all my bits of thread everywhere, take the end and then just sew that on to our little ruffle underneath. There we go. Oh, I do love these. Pull that round so we've got lots of little ruffle. There we go. So yes, if you're going to give this a go, do post it in the Facebook room. I'd love to see how you make your little mushrooms, or you know what they look like. I think they're just, it's just a fun little thing to make as well, isn't it? Nice little shabby fun project. Just sew that on. There we go. I think I'll cut that just a little bit shorter. Got a little bit of thread there. Let's just tie this off. On there. Make sure it's not going to go anywhere. Push that in, and then we will sew some beads on. Shall we sew a few beads on? I do have my beading needle ready, threaded. So you don't have to sit there and watch me thread my needle, because it's, you know, I am dreadful at it. So I did make sure I had one ready threaded. So there we go, guys. It's not the neatest, but it is fabulous. Let's chop all these little bits off. Okay. There's a little bit we don't need. I'm going to just go around here. Just cut this off like that, just a little bit shorter. Oh, look at that. Isn't that just the cutest? Love it. Love it. We've got a little end there. We don't want that, do we? Let's just chop you off. That's my needle there. Now, if you wanted to hang it up through the top, what I did, I got some of this, which is like an embroidery thread, and my needle, and I went in through here, because you've got a bit of cardboard in there, and I got my needle through there, and I came out through the top. So instead of sewing something to the top here, I actually went through here with my big needle, so you don't see anything coming up, and then I just popped it through there, which I thought looked really good, which is on, which one was it on? This one, which has got my little bead on there, like that, which I just love. I think that one's just gorgeous. So, but you can always put a bead on there and just sort of like sew it to the top as well. So what I'm going to do, what shall we have at the top? Shall we have just some of these little ones, some little clear ones, I think. Just a few little beads on the top. So this is my beading needle. I've got it all ready. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in through here like this, but you've got to be careful because I got a little bit of card in there. Just going to, because this is like that nice sort of clear thread, I'm just going to go through it a little bit like that. Pick up a little bead, pop that on, and come up through there like that. So we got these tiny little beads all over. Just going to tip a few out. It's a lot easier to pick them up off here. Then I'm just going to sort of zigzag down like that. But again, you can do them in the traditional sort of red and white little one, which would be pretty, wouldn't it? Go down through. I did put sequins on one of them as well, sequins and beads. But like I said, wouldn't it look lovely if you put lace on there? So I might have to do a nice little shabby lacy one, I think. Like that. Just some little delicate beads. You could pop buttons on. You could make it actually out of denim. Would be quite nice, wouldn't it? If you had a denim one with little buttons all over it. Little tiny buttons. Look at that, doesn't that look so cute? Okay. I think that's pretty good. Oh, what's happened to that new? No. There we go, I think it just fell off. There we go. One more, and I think we are done for our little top bit. We don't want too many. Now I'm going to go down through here. Like I said, because we've got this beading thread, you can't sort of see the thread, so I'm just going to go down through here like that. Tie that off. And then just to make sure, go all the way through. Like that. So look at that, guys, isn't that lovely? And then because we've got the wire in it, we can just give it a little bend like that, which is fabulous. And then I would just sew up, shall I do a couple? Sew up some little beads at the bottom, which I think just finishes it off lovely. And I think this one is just beautiful, which I did. And I've got some sort of like little crystal sew-on gems as well on there, which looks so pretty. So let's just... I started off with sort of like the bigger beads and then filled in with some like tiny little beads. So I'm just going to go through there like that. So if I pick up like, oops, pick up like 3 beads, if I can. These are sort of like the little clear crystally beads. And then I'm just going to go down like that and just sort of like pick them up. Oops, how come I got double thread there again now? This thread is very strange. So I'm going to pick up, I won't do all of these because it just takes so long. It's very time consuming. It's easier to do it obviously off camera, because I can sort of like pick the beads up a little bit easier when you're not watching me, and they don't sort of ping everywhere. So I'm going to pick up 5 on there, look. So you want to sort of like pick up different amounts, sort of push that up and then just sort of go back down all the way along, and then just build your way around with the beads like that. So, but there we go, guys. So I will finish this off slowly, but that's how you make it. I think they are just beautiful. I'm absolutely had so much fun doing them. They don't take too long. Do you know what I mean? It's just sewing the beads on, but if you wanted to, you could glue them on, a little bit of fabric glue on there, or some of this. I've got some beading glue somewhere. I don't know where that's gone now. Oh, here it is. This is gem glue, which is really good. So if you just wanted to sort of like stick your gems on with this and leave it, you could do that as well. You don't have to sew them on, but I think I love sewing these on. I'm not a seamstress, I'm not a sewer at all. I just do it, you know, for fun, and because I enjoy it. I think it's very therapeutic to do, but I am just loving them. I hope you love them too. These little diddy ones on there, which is nice. This little bit of velvet was this, which is a little harder, which is quite nice, and I just sort of like cut a little circle out of that, so that's a little one. And then I used the gem glue for these, the little rhinestones on there, but this one I did little tiny little beads I sewed on there, and these ones here. But lots of different materials you can use, and it's all fun, and so do please experiment. Let me know. I've got this one to finish off, and I will finish this one off, but I like the little bendy wire bits in there, which looks really good. So just got to figure out what I'm going to do with them. Pop them in a little bowl, or pop them somewhere, make a little plant pot maybe, and pop some little fake moss or something for them to sit in. But lovely. But the other thing I did do actually, which was it on one of these? I think it was on one of these. I popped a little pin through like that, so you could pop a little bit of wire in there like that, and then stick them into sort of like some styrofoam or a little bit of Oasis or something like that, and then cover it around with some moss. So that would look really good, wouldn't it? So just get a bit of wire, not a needle. You don't need a needle, but you could probably do the same with these as well. Pop another piece of wire up through if you haven't got, these ones have got wire in, but the ones that you haven't got wire in like that, you could just pop a piece of wire in and stick it down on some Oasis to hold them tight. So there we go, guys. I hope you're going to give that a go. I think they are just cute. Just a really fun project to do. So I'm going to sit this afternoon and finish off my little mushroom. So thank you so much for joining me. Have a fab rest of the day, and a lovely weekend. Please take care, stay safe, and I will see you next time. All right, guys, bye-bye.